Hi everybody, and welcome to Vista Portfolio with Alicia Dianne. I am Alicia Dianne, and welcome to the channel. We're going to be having a lot of fun continuing in our digital painting today, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we've been working on a piece called Out of the Bottle. It's a piece that I started a few weeks ago, and we did all the illustration, we found some concepts. So that's going to be like the first thing that you're going to be doing is thinking of your ideas, brainstorming, getting those concepts, doing some thumbnails, and finding out who your main character is going to be. It can be based on real stories. We pulled out references. We went through like some African folk tales, and I ultimately ended up using some inspiration from, sorry, I need some water, from, what is it called? Saving the Cat, the Blake Snyder book. So it's one of his ways that he uses to define movie genres. So this one is Out of the Bottle. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to iPad so you can see what we've done so far. And we're going to continue working on that piece. So let me switch our view to iPad. Okay, so this is the piece. And this marker right here in the upper right corner is just to see where the light source is coming from. I want to think about too, like the time of day that I'm using. So obviously that one just comes on and off. Right now I want to start adding, make sure that it's showing in the right view. Okay, so right now I want to start adding some light in dark. I'm thinking about the time of day. I did pull up a reference. So that one is going to be some Pinterest images that I found, just like finding, like, I just put in like girls' bedrooms, so just to get like the color palette and the lighting that I would like. I'm thinking like it's mid-afternoon, probably after she's just come home from school. So let's see. Alright, so I want to think I might take off the characters while I work on the, let's see, how much of these. I might go ahead and separate these because I'm seeing that. Alright, so I have my characters here, and I think I'm just going to put them all together. If that's, this is not part of characters necessarily. So let's go ahead and grab these. And I put these together, and I'm just going to name this one characters so that I can put that, so I can turn that off when I'm working on the background, because I feel like it will be too distracting to have my characters. Oh, and I don't have the line there. Alright, so let me see where to have the line for my characters also. Alright, so I'm going to pull that down here so that that will also not be showing. Alright, so let's keep that there. And let me see first how many layers I have left, because unlike Photoshop where there's just, I don't know what the limit is, if there's any at all, there's just about no limit at all to how many layers we can put for Photoshop. I can put my name here if I'd like to. I already know that I'm making these. So I almost never just sign, but why not? Let's go ahead. Let's see how many layers I have left. So it says layers used is 18, available is 5. So I only have 5 layers left, so I do want to be a little bit careful with how I'm doing this, making sure that I'm allowing myself, and I might just flatten this. So I'm going to look at this. And I may, let's see, this whole thing, this sketch is super light. So let me see if I want to just flatten this all together. Which I think I will. Let's see, I'm wondering though. if I should. Yeah, let me just flatten that. It's locked. Okay, so this one is locked, so I'm gonna unlock that, and let's just flatten this. Alright, so now that's just one layer. Okay, good. Take that out, go back to my color, and I'm seeing already I have a lot of things I need to add. And I'm wondering if maybe I should just leave that one. Let me see. I'm gonna go back to undoing that. Because I think it can be helpful to leave my sketch open. Let's see. Merge that down. And I don't think I necessarily need these to be in a group, because that's gonna take an extra layer for me. So I'm gonna keep my sketch, but I will keep, let's see, character sketch. And I'll keep my, I'll put this in multiply. Is it in multiply already? Yeah. Okay, so rename this one. And this one will be my background sketch. And I want to keep that because I didn't realize it immediately, but there's a lot of detail that I haven't added yet for the background, so I want to kind of keep being able to see that so I can add that as I'm going in and adding my details. So let's go ahead and see. I think I want to start with this furthest back area. And I might go back and forth between that transparency so I can just kind of see where I have there. Alright, let's add another layer here. What I'm going to do is that for now I'm going to just have this as a clipping mask. I don't know if it needs to be because it's taking up the whole back anyway. So it doesn't necessarily need to be clipping mask, but that's okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and start thinking about what brushes we want to use for this. So I'm going to grab this color. And there's a few that I like to use, but I will be experimenting. Let me see, do I have a palette for this one? Not sure. I do, okay. So let's just start a little bit. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably shouldn't have put my door on the same layer as my as the wall, but that's alright. I'll work it out. So I'm just going to start basically just building up where I want some of the light and dark to be. And I can keep checking like to see how I like this. Let's see. I'm going to move the character color actually out of there. Okay. Being fairly new to digital painting myself, I'm learning to have like the things that I need to do that, or what's the word that I'm looking for. I'm learning how to not stop myself, because I think one of the things that can stop you when you're working on building your portfolio, it's just that kind of fear that we can all get of like messing up. And you kind of have to just remove that. I'm trying to think like how I want to do the door too. It's the same thing with any type of painting though. I think it's the same exact thing when you're doing like, if you're doing a digital oil painting, if you're doing acrylic painting, there's always that little bit of hesitation, especially if it's been a while for you. For me, I've been doing a lot of children's book illustration. That's been like the majority of the work I've been doing lately. This isn't terribly different from that, but there are definitely differences. It's really important to just focus on one object at a time. Like no matter what medium you're using, is to just focus on that one object at a time so you don't get yourself overwhelmed or like getting ahead of yourself. I may want to try some different brushes too, but right now I just want to see what I'm going here. I'm going to this event actually tomorrow, and I'm actually getting what I haven't gotten in a while is a portfolio review. So the event is hosted by Black and Animated, which I thought I was a member like a long time ago because I like been getting the newsletter for a long time, and I didn't know there was like any process to like be a member other than like just signing up with them. But yeah, apparently I'm just joined them. But anyway, they're organization that help minorities, particularly African descended people, like getting involved in the animation industry. So they're hosting a career summit this weekend, and they've been sharing a lot of information about that. There's lots of different organizations for minorities now, especially I've seen more show up in the last few years. I think the first main one was the Women in Animation, and I've been involved with them for a long time, but I think they were the first organization to kind of, that I'm aware of, that started promoting minorities or like underrepresented people, which is women, in animation. And then there became like there's Asian queens in animation. I think there might be like an LGBTQ one. So there's definitely different ones, different organizations for minorities in the animation industry. And that's really because, I mean, just like in any realm of film, and I think niche things in general tend to have a harder time for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because the way that they target like their employees, or the way they do their recruiting, or I think there's a lot of flaws just in the way the system is in general. But anyway, yeah, there definitely needs to be an effort to include different voices in the animation industry. But anyway, I'm going to that career summit tomorrow, and and Sunday because it's an all weekend thing. I didn't realize it was all weekend. But I'm placing less of a what is the word I'm looking for? I'm taking the pressure off. I think it's probably the best way I can say it. I mean, I hope that I get like, you know, some good feedback, but expecting to get hired at events like this, I've found to be, or just in giving yourself or giving myself anxiety over whether or not I can potentially get hired to an event like this is, I know this is really not helpful. I think the best thing is to just go in there open-minded and make the most of the situation, whatever it is. I think we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves as artists to get our portfolio like just right before portfolio review, and just, you know, but honestly it's going to be whatever it is. Oh, what happened? Yeah, I really need a new iPad. It's so slow. All right. So very slow. Oh, look, I put all the detail from my bottle with the characters. Oh, I just realized that. So maybe I will just leave my bottle with the character. Okay. Yeah, I think I will. No, really, a Stelter bottle, because that just makes more sense to me. Now it should be part of this group. Okay. And the string too. What the string? The string is out. Alright, let me move this down. Organizing layers is important. Like, I didn't even realize how messy it was. Okay. Oh, it needs to be higher up the string. Okay. Alright, that should be fine. Okay, let me turn this back off. Alright, get back to the door. Okay, wrong layer. Right. I still think that like it's helpful to put the textures on a different layer, because I really should have put my door separately than the wall, but still just having it on this lighting on a different layer is going to let me to erase where I'm going over, because I know that I am going over in some spots. Alright, I think I want to change my texture. And these particular brushes, these are from Lucy Illustrates. She's a children's book illustrator. She's got a class on Domestika. I wish I knew how to make my own brushes. I don't. But I really like her brushes. Also have some that I got from like this Instagram advertisement, which I think I'm not the only one who fell prey to this. It's called Gen Sketch. I don't really use those as much, but I don't blame the brushes. I think it's just that I haven't experimented with them enough yet. But they probably are good. One that I use a lot is the shading pencil, but I really need to see what the rest of them do because I'm not sure. What I'm doing with this texture is I'm adding the light and the shadow while I'm adding texture at the same time. This is something that I learned to do while I was doing one of the studying the masters, or maybe through just the whole process of studying the masters in that series. Um, that's why I really believe in doing study paintings and study drawings, because you learn through the process. But I always thought that you do the texture and then the lighting and the shading is like a whole other process. I told you guys before, I learned and I'm learning digital painting late in my career because I've come from a traditional, mostly traditional, especially with color. And the very little that I learned in color early on, I was doing all traditional. So I'm having to teach myself later digital, but I think one of the most helpful things that I picked up was adding texture while adding that light and dark. Of course, you'll add like a texture layer. Um, I typically do that at the end because I don't want to rely too much on that. I don't think you ever want to rely too heavily on that texture layer to give you all your texture. You see, it's lagging. It's just this weird lagging thing. I'm hoping with this next project I can get myself a new iPad. I went to LA Comic Con, it was now 2 weeks ago. Well, this weekend it will be 2 weeks. Actually, today makes 2 weeks because it started on Friday. And it was my first Comic Con, believe it or not. I really enjoyed it. I'd done a lot of like conventions as far as or art shows. I've done animation conventions, like I've been to CTN, I've been to Lightbox. I've done all of those before, but I hadn't been to a comic convention before, like officially a comic convention. Um, I enjoyed it a lot, and I've been talking about this. I was debating whether or not to take um, my more current art, and I thought maybe I should just. I did a couple of what is it called, fan arts a few years ago, and most of the fan art I've done is just like the Thousand Lions, because I've never really been much of a fan of fan art in general. That sounds funny. Yeah, but I haven't really been like that big on fan art, so I was debating whether or not I should take some, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't really feel like that represents who I am as an artist. And even though that's typically like, I don't know if it's, I would say, yeah, that's like the best sellers of Comic Cons. It's like people expect to buy fan art. I mean, some people will have their original comics, and that's great. And if they have a big following, then they probably will sell a good number of comics. But for me, who's more of an unknown uh, graphic novelist creator, I was like, I don't know if I should bring other things that might be more likely to get attention. But I was just like, you know what, I'm bringing just like my African inspired illustrations, and then those feel like that's what represents me as an artist. And It actually did pretty good, especially for my first time. I've been to so many art shows, like even I've been to so many art shows where like, especially early on in my career, where I just didn't sell anything at all. And that was mostly when I was just starting out and I couldn't figure out like, oh my God, what's going on? Like I would spend like, $300-400 just for the fee to get, to have a booth, for the booth fee, and then not sell anything. And that felt, I enjoyed just being there, but it felt like it wasn't lucrative to do that. So I felt like, I don't know, like if I can continue doing this, if I'm not going to earn any money. I don't know if I be able to do shows in person if I can't earn the money back. But not that I earned my money back with Comic Con, but um, I earned a good amount. I felt good about it. I'll say that. I felt I felt good. I felt like, maybe, once I'll get a little bit more of the hang of this, I'll do better, and this can be something that I do regularly, or more regularly anyway. So I felt good about it anyway. Hmm. Anyway, what am I trying to say? I'm gonna change a lot of this. I'm just trying to like build. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stick with this brush either. Just trying to be able to see what's happening. This door needs a lot of work. Alright, well, let's keep moving. I might just be doing this door today. This FYI. No, but one of the things that I learned while I was at the Comic Con, which is what I wanted to get to, other than, just be yourself as much as you can be. Like, don't try to fit in with what everyone you think is expected of you, but really, you know, do your thing. And that was one of the biggest takeaways. And I realized that too with not only that, but the work that I make in general. Not just what I show, but also how I want to think about um, making art going forward. This is being so laggy. Alright. But yeah, it made me think about it because because even with this series, which is new and experimental, um, I realized, there's something I want to think about going forward. I mean, I'm glad I chose. I don't regret choosing this piece because I think it's interesting. But I think I do want to focus, even when I'm making my portfolio pieces, and I was talking before about having like diversity and making sure that you have different types of characters, so that people can see all the different things that you're able to draw. Still, I would want to encourage you and encourage myself to try and keep your stories somewhat personal. I think that can be missing in our industry, in the animation industry, and we're considered often just like a commercial business, but it doesn't have to be. And I feel like it was more of my personal stuff, even that was the stuff that people were really noticing. I started a series that I didn't finish, an illustrated series that I called Back Home, and I was doing like these illustrations that were based off of like all of my memories back in New York, like growing up in New York. And I have like, playing in the fire hydrant water and stuff like that, and stuff that we used to do in the summer, and very like unique to New York type of experiences. I don't know where, if they maybe probably do that in other big cities, maybe like where there's not a lot of, you know, resources for kids in the summer. But yeah, that was one of my experiences, was just like, you know, how they used to open up the fire hydrants in the summer, and we just used to play in them. But that one got a lot of attention, and I think that was the first time I showed it like at any art show, and I was surprised. I was like, okay, people are into this, and it's my real experience. So I feel like there's something to that. There's something to telling stories from your own experience. So yeah, we can get inspiration from fairy tales. We can get inspiration from books. Why does it keep doing that? And by the way, this is the one. If it's not showing. Alright, iPad. Why is it not showing my iPad? Let's see. For some reason, my iPad is not wanting to show, so let me see. That's so weird. I don't know why it's not showing. Oh no, it took away my memory. Why did it do that? It took away a lot of my progress for whatever reason. Let me see if I can fix this. 1 second. Why do I always have these tech problems? I don't know. Hopefully I can get it back. Or else I might need to just move this to my... And maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just move it to Photoshop if it doesn't want to work. You can have more than one option here. Alright, so you know what? I'm just going to share this to my computer as a Photoshop file. And we're just going to continue in Photoshop because apparently that's what it wants to do. Yep, no iPad. Okay. That's fine with me. Alright, so let's see. Alright, so I'm going to pull this into here, Photoshop. Let's see. Alright, so let's change our camera. Boo, 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 boo. Alright, so here we are. We're now in Photoshop. I'm gonna have to use some different brushes now, but I think we can still work it out. At least you can see me now. Not like that's what you wanted, but oh well. Alright, so I'm gonna zoom in, make sure that I am on light source. I want that to show. Alright, so here we are. Hopefully have, there we go, my color palette there. And it took away some of my progress, but it's okay. I'm going to get my pencil, my glove back on. And let's see if I can, for Photoshop, I've been using more of, I don't use wet media brushes very much. I like the dry brushes. And I really like, I like using like charcoal type brushes. And what I've mostly been using for that is the Aaron Blaze charcoals. Let's see, charcoal here, no. Pastels. Alright, so let's see what we can do with some of these pastels. Alright, so I'm going to try and get a color in the middle. I don't know if it's going to be any better, but maybe. Let's see what we can do. Alright, we'll make the most of this. What I was saying is, I really think it's important to not underestimate the value of your own experiences. And I didn't realize that fully, I think, until very recently, when I am learning and teaching myself to let go of approval and in my artwork and in my career and in my journey, my own personal journey, like to let go of that and just focus more on making the art. There's this great quote by I always keep forgetting his name. Andy Warhol. Yes. There's this great quote by Andy Warhol, and he's out there. He was out there. He was definitely a different type. He was an artist, right? He was one of those artists that unapologetically just did his thing, and he has this great quote, and it's, "Don't think about making art, just make it. Don't worry about whether it's good or bad, or whether people love it or hate it. Let people decide, whether they love it or hate it, if it's good or bad." And it says, while they're deciding, make even more art. So I think that's one of my favorite quotes about making art, like, of all time. I just think it's so smart and so very true, and so much of what we forget to do as artists. It's just like, it's about making the work. It really is about making the work. And if we can keep that in mind and remember that, make it a lot easier for ourselves. Hey, maybe this was a good thing that my iPad quit on me. Sometimes I feel like Photoshop is better for backgrounds. I don't know. if that's true, but sometimes I feel that. I'm gonna go smaller. So like you see, it doesn't matter too much if you're working with one brush set or the other, as long as you can get like the same effect that you want. I feel like that's what is going to matter at the end. And for me, I just really like that dry brush look, and chalks and pastels tend to do that really nicely. And you can see I'm just like building. I'm not worried about it being finished before it's finished. Like, that's the thing, it's like, don't try to make it look finished before it's finished. Just build it up. Let it be what it is. I used to say it when I did a lot of acrylic paintings. Like, all the paintings always go through an ugly phase, and they do. And it doesn't matter what type of medium that you're using, they always do go through like this sort of an ugly phase, and you have to be, as like their parent, accepting of them and loving them still when they are awkward and when they're not ready yet, and when you know they're not ready yet, and just be forgiving of them and patient, and know that they're growing up. Your painting is growing up. You just have to give it time, and it will be where, you know, where it's meant to be. And don't judge it too harshly, because that's just gonna stunt its growth. Don't judge it before it's ready. You're the parent of this art piece, and you should love it in every stage of its development. Alright, I think I might need to zoom out to see what the hell is really going on. A bit darker right here. There's this style that a lot of visual development artists do in their work, where they're doing something that is really, it looks really rough and unfinished, and but it still looks really beautiful. And you might have like some of those making of books and things where you might see artists that are doing that. But what I would really want to advise you, that painting in so many ways is really like drawing, and there's a lot of artists who can do like an unfinished drawing and it still look really, you know, good and nice. And I want to just advise you that that comes with time. So instead of trying to make something look beautiful while it's unfinished, just try and make it look beautiful, period. Or just try and make it look, just try and do it to the best of your ability. I feel like we can rush to the stage of this, like trying to make things look like a certain type of way before we are in that stage of our art making. And I know for myself, there's times when I feel like when I've done some certain type of technique and I've done it a million times and I feel like, oh, I feel comfortable like leaving it, like it feels good where it is. And that it just comes with time, because I feel like if you try to force something like that, it's not gonna go well. It's not gonna come out. It's just gonna look unfinished. And you don't want to just have something just be an unfinished artwork, because that doesn't look good. Just try to make it look the best that you can make it. And if it takes you a long time, it's okay, because speed comes with time. Speed comes with doing something over and over again, like the right way, and you're just getting so used to it that you do it faster. But if we try to like just do something fast, then like before we have the experience of that, it's not going to work well for us. It just will not. So just give yourself the grace of time and know that these things come in time. Alright, let's see where we're at. Okay, I want to fix these points of the door. Okay. Okay, let's zoom back in, see what I want to change. Okay, another wire here. Okay. Alright, now I'm seeing some more stuff that I want to change. Let's see. And it helps too to take the line off sometimes, because that's ultimately where you're going to be. Right, I might go ahead and add another layer. Let's see if I want to make this a multiply. Let's see. Now I'm just trying to figure out what I like and what I don't. Alright. Door's not bad. I still need to see where the doorknob is at. Okay. And let's see, I wanna make sure that I don't go over what I want it to. Let's see. Alright, where is my doorknob? Maybe I want to take this down a little bit more. I wonder if I can, let's see, wall stuff. maybe I can just delete that. And I'll put the doorknob here. I'm pretty sure I can use my ellipse for that. And what I can do here is go ahead and add some, let's see. For this one, I don't want to use a dry brush just because I don't feel like I want to use a dry brush right now, but maybe, we'll see. Because I don't want it to feel let's see. That's an interesting little effect. Get a lighter. Just feel it. Oh no. Let's see, how does that work? It feels a little bit better. Just kind of blending that in. And let's see. Okay. I might even go in with a lighter, let's say eraser. Just kind of give it a little bit of a glow there. Let's see where we're at with time. We're almost at an hour. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe I'm gonna keep that on normal. Oof, no. All right, maybe I want to take the opacity of this down a little bit. Do I? Maybe I'll leave it there for now and see what I want to do with it later. Maybe I can not sure what it is, but something is like Alright, I'll leave it like this for now, and let me see. There's- let's see. Why can't I see anything? Alright. Let's see something. Let's take the sketch off. It's just like, I'm just adding really slight little stuff because I just barely want it to be there. Alright, so all the work for a door. Let's see how it looks with our characters in the frame. Well, it's still a long way to go. But I think we made some good progress. Gosh, it feels like it's just creeping along, but you know what? It's getting somewhere, and I'm just really glad that we've made it so far and that we're gonna keep on moving. So thank you so much for joining me. I want to come back into my camera real quick here. Yeah, this process is interesting because I'm just like trying to absorb what I can about it and just like kind of feel my way through it and just get to where it wants to take me. I'm just kind of letting the art guide me, which is sounds like a strange process, but that's just kind of what I feel like I want to do. I just want to involve the process, and I think that that's a good thing that you can take with yourself when you're working on your art. Is just kind of not push necessarily an agenda. Of course, when you're working with clients, there's more pressure, or if you're working and you have a deadline, there's more pressure. And I'm working on this as something that's on the side, is from everything else that I'm doing. So this is not something that I'm working on every single day. So just keep in mind that we're working when you have that dedicated time, and know that it's going to take you like probably, you know, 10 hours plus for to get one piece done. It might take more, it might take less, but I mean, you got to give yourself the time that it's going to take and not be frustrated when it does take the time that it takes. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm enjoying this process and just learning and discovering as I go, because I feel like that is what art making is all about, is just learning through the process and letting yourself learn through the process. Well, I hope you guys have an excellent weekend. I'll let you know how the Black and Animated Career Summit goes, and I will see you guys next time. So until I see you again, be grateful, live balanced, be yourself. Bye bye.